Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. Hope you guys been enjoying the content on the channel as of late. As you can tell, we're in a little bit of a different setting for today. Usually we do the car, or we're in my room, or we're doing voice recording. I'm just chilling out in the living room to have a place to myself for the for a little bit, and just I'm just trying to chill out, just be a little relaxed. Been stressed for a few days. I have my eating habits have just not been that great. So we're just gonna keep it casual today. In terms of just a setup. Lighting is actually not too bad actually, um, yeah, we're gonna keep it casual today, and we're gonna keep it centralized again. Because this video I'm planning to put out after the Blind Tuesdays video, because we had discussed in a last topic video about just Hollywood and how Hollywood is just really struggling at the moment, uh, and how that struggle will probably continue and uh, will translate into the overall summer. Funny enough, actually, I have not recorded that video yet. I plan to record it actually today. It's just that my cat is actually sitting on my desk, sitting on my chair. So, and I don't usually like to do anything with her, but just let her sleep. Um, but but it gives me a chance to actually record this video, which this came out. That this news story came out a few days ago, and I was intending to actually do it as a news topic initially for a minute, but then I thought, you know what, let's just make it a video because it's actually kind of opens up an interesting conversation with regards to biographical storytelling, which is in turn, which refers to biopics about stories about real people and the legality behind that and the dangers that can be birthed from that. And the example of this is the film called The Apprentice, which is starring Sebastian Stan as a young Donald Trump, and is a biopic about Donald Trump. It's meant to be a satire, from what I've heard from it being described. Um, Directed by the filmmaker behind Holy Spider, which we have reviewed on this channel. Wasn't really crazy about, but heard some mixed responses from Cannes, from where it premiered, and bless me. And in response to the film being premiered at Cannes, Donald Trump himself actually had sent a cease and desist. I think that's how you say it. Sorry, I'm not sure familiar with court terms and legality and stuff like that. Cease and desist. I forget, whatever. That letter. Cease and desist, I think, is the term. Sent their way towards the filmmakers, citing that a lot of the material in the film is either inappropriate, exaggerated, or just completely false. And uh, as far as I can tell, based on just what I've read, it's just basically a warning. Trump apparently does this a lot, and he never really follows through with it. On the rarest occasions, he does fall through with it, but in this instance, it doesn't seem like anything will happen if it's just basically a warning. Um, he's requesting for the film to not be released at all, and I don't know how that might happen, or I don't know. As far as I know, there's no distributor attached to it yet. At least it's any U.S. distributor. I don't. Again, I've only taken a glance at the entire article, um, but it brought up an interesting thought in my head about just the whole legality behind that. Like, because I mean, obviously, I think nothing will come of it. I don't think that he will really pursue it. Um, but but it does bring up an interesting question about if somebody like Donald Trump was wanting to pursue, like if there was defamation, or if there was just um, presenting of material that is just not truthful. Is there Is there a place for those real people, for those people, the real people of those stories being told on screen? Can they pursue legal action against those films if they feel that their representation is just false and they're not being represented correctly? Can they actually pursue legal action, and can they win in that respect? I think the answer to that question, because obviously, like I said, I don't think Trump's going to do anything, but I think that Trump also has every right to pursue the film if he wishes to, if he believes, and if it's, in fact, if the stuff in the film, because there's also a lot of stuff, a lot of, for as far as I've been told or just read about the film, there are some accusations in that film, which I am not, again, I'm not familiar with like Trump's history, so I'm not going to sit here and say that I know things or I don't know things. But there's apparently a rape sequence involving his current wife, and that obviously brings up a lot of questions. There's a lot of exaggerated things in the film about how Trump is, just his manner. Again, being a satire, it might get away with it, um, but but it does present a an argument about whether these real people, these individuals that are being used in these stories, is there a point to where that storytelling can be so um, can be quite toxic and can actually affect that person's image or affect that person just generally speaking? And is it in their right, and can they pursue legal action, and is it just, is it appropriate? Because there's some people that perhaps will just flag it up as like, well, it's just art, it's meant to be expressive, it's meant to be, you know it's not always meant to be truthful, it's just meant to be a perspective about what the filmmaker is thinking, and not necessarily presenting the quality of truth or a certain value of that individual. And like, just in saying that, like, there's just something really manipulative about that statement. And I've said it before about art. Art is very manipulative and very exploitive, and of course very expressive. I mean, that's the whole definition of art. Um, but there's something really, like, I said it like with my Priscilla review when I reviewed the film Priscilla. There's just something gross about just taking real life people and their events and twisting them in a way that is only to that filmmaker's benefit, using those events, in some cases real tragedies, as tools and fuel for their filmmaking, for their craftsmanship. It's just something really gross about that. And and I know that people will just immediately jump to the, oh, well, in the case of the whole Donald Trump thing going on, there's a lot of people who will just jump to the position of, politics, and state that, well, this is just because the election is coming up, and this is just he's trying to, distract, or this and that, blah, 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 throwing up all these points, political points. And I mean, I don't think there's anything political about stating that if someone feels that they are not being represented correctly. And again, in the case of this film, they're presenting accusations, presenting material that, again, I have no idea if whether or not they're truthful or not, or if there has been reports of that in the past. I have no idea. But specifically that rape sequence that is in the film, I don't know if that stuff is real or not. I have no idea. But um, but going off the assumption, just for the argument's sake, um, let's just say that it actually did not happen. I think that it's within his right to go pursue legal action if there is some material out there accusing him of such heinous crimes and of heinous things, very vile and just gross stuff. I don't think that it's wrong for someone to pursue legal action against a filmmaker. And I know that people bring up the First Amendment and say, like, well, they have the freedom to say whatever they want to say. And that's true, they do. They absolutely do have the power to do so. But that doesn't mean that they're always going to be left without consequence. That's not always the truth. There are times where some people just take it too far and they just, exaggerate things or manipulate facts and, decide. And that's the whole thing. Everybody knows in film that term based on a true story. That doesn't mean it's based in any facts. It just means that we took a the general statement of what the event is, and then we just decide within the underbelly to create our own fiction. So everyone knows that. That's the whole point of biographies, or biographical storytelling. It has nothing to do with presenting the truth of the matter. It's just presenting a piece of dramatic fiction that has the uh, the how should I say it? It has the the outline. It has the statement of truth, but the overall delivery of that truth is that of fiction. So that's the way you have to view biopics for them, because that's mostly what they are. Um, like there was an issue with Sully, Clint Eastwood's Sully Soderbergh film with Tom Hanks starring in that film. He took big issues with that film, and he actually partaked in the marketing for that film as well. It was in interviews and stuff like that, and you saw he was very happy about it. Many years later, after that film was finished and his contract probably expired, because that's also the other gross thing is that the real people in these films, they sometimes have to do the NDAs, just like the actors. It's like I would let that person say their piece. I wouldn't like I wouldn't like position them to where now they have to like it, or they have to they have to get a certain response out of them, or else at that point then there might be legal action against them also if they don't say the right things. It's just, you know like that's another thing. But generally speaking, just about telling those sort of stories, you do run the risk of, for lack of a better word, pissing those people off and making them feel um, um, making them feel a certain way, and representing them potentially in a inappropriate way, an exaggerative way, in a way that makes them look a certain way. I understand that it's all based on perspective at the end of the day. Again, that's what filmmaking is all about. It's not just about expression of oneself, it's also about a perspective of oneself. So I get the art form, I get the expression, I get the freedom, the getting into politics, I get the freedom in that. But just because you can literally do it does not mean that there is no consequences whatsoever. So so if someone like Donald Trump wants to pursue legal action, I wouldn't put it past him. It's just, if it is false, if those things being presented are false, I mean, put yourself in his shoes, or someone else's shoes who's having a a a piece of cinema, or a piece of whatever film on screen. It's your life, and it's being shown to a bunch of people. Like, wouldn't you feel a bit irritated if certain details or certain facts are twisted and they make you look a certain way? And it's just because it's all on Front Street now. Everybody knows about it. Personally, I just like why I never I also like there's also I mean, it's not really on them, but it's like there's also that point of like, well, why would you allow that information out to begin with? Like, mostly these biographies, I mean, it stems from books and material. So it's like I also look at the people who are from those events, and I ask, well, why do you need to express those events? I mean, if it was such a serious thing, like why do you feel the need to talk to a newspaper or write a book about it, like exploit your own experience for personal gain, you know, like very much so with filmmaking. So like, they have their own fault as well. I mean, that's the origin point to it, but speaking purely on a filmmaking front, it's like I don't put it past people who find like the real people who are, who are having their lives, put on screen. I don't put it past them when they feel offended, or they feel betrayed, or they feel like that they weren't represented correctly. Or if they want to pursue legal action, like I don't put it past them, because it's their life that being put on Front Street. So if you're gonna put it out in public, you might as well just put out the truth. So if it's not the truth, or at least to their view, not the truth, I understand why they may feel that they have to pursue legal action, or they feel as though that they have to, you know, express how they feel. Like that's their freedom of speech as well. So I don't think this is a controversial point. I understand in bringing up Donald Trump that I'm going to get put into a certain sphere, like, oh, he's obviously this Republican or this and that. It's like, no, no. I've expressed before my views, and I won't express them again just because I know some people don't like where I come from. Um, but I think that we can all agree, though, that if somebody said something about you that just wasn't true, and it's something that is very damaging, or is something that you take personally, and it's just something that you just, it rubs you the wrong way, essentially. I don't think anybody should be criticizing that person for wanting to pursue that individual or those people, the people who make those remarks. I don't think it's wrong if somebody wants to go ahead and pursue some sort of, um, some sort of legal action or whatever. I don't think it's wrong. I really don't. So, but that's the risk. That's the risk that you take. And, if you ask me, like, I mean, as a consumer, obviously I'd be interested in seeing just any form of story, whether it being a biography or a piece of fiction or whatever. Like, or I mean, biographies are fiction, but you know what I'm saying. It's like I don't like I don't care what the genre is. I just care for a good film. But talking about the morality of what they're creating, yes, it is a very there's a very gray area in that sort of uh, craftsmanship, and the hope is that they are pursuing the truth, but they're clearly not. Anybody who knows anything about the based on a true story slogan clearly knows that what they're getting into is just far from the truth. And with that, if those real people don't feel as though they're being represented correctly, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong if they want to do anything about that, or if they wish to, take it up to court or whatever like that. Nothing wrong with that. I really don't find any issues with that. So, yeah. So it's an interesting topic, and it had me thinking, because when we were reading that Donald Trump story, it's just like, I mean, yeah, I mean, if the man wanted to, he has every right to, and if he's able to prove it in court, or if he's able to, what I mean, like if he has, what I mean, like if he's able to deflect it, it's like, is it really wrong? Is it really wrong? You know, I wouldn't concern myself with stuff like that because I know who I am personally. But for anybody who has a desire to do that, personally, I don't see an issue with that. But I don't know. You guys let me know. I'd like dedicate 20 minutes to this, but you guys let me know. If somebody, just live in a hypothetical for a second. Like, if somebody made a film about you, right? It's about your life, and think about your life. Like, really think about your life at this moment. kind of deep, I know, but it's like, think about your life right at this moment. All the stuff that you've been through, all that stuff. That's going to be on screen, right? That's one thing, okay? Now, that film you're watching, because you know your life, you know the events, you know everything that's happened. Now you watch that film. Those events start to present themselves in a very different way from what you know of them to be. And they are personal things, serious things, you know. Wouldn't you be offended? Wouldn't you feel betrayed? Wouldn't you feel a certain way? Like, I understand. I totally understand where that person would come from. So, but let me know all your thoughts in the comment section below. And yeah, so that's gonna be it for this video, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. Again, keep it tame in the comments. I know bringing up Donald Trump and with all the stuff with him and his campaign, blah 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 blah. Just keep it neutral in the comments, guys. We're tired of talking about film, not politics. So just keep it neutral in the comments, guys. But yeah, let me know all your thoughts in the comment section below. And that's gonna be it for this video, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. And until then, I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye.